Hey everyone, welcome back to Unorthodox Cricket. Now, another pretty one-sided game overnight between Sri Lanka and South Africa pretty much seals both teams' fates. South Africa were already out, but now I'm going to say that Sri Lanka are also going home. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to take a quick look at that game and just see how that unfolded. And then we're going to preview tonight's massive game between New Zealand and Australia. Now, this is a game I've been super excited for a long time now. Ever since my heart was broken in that 2015 World Cup final. Hopefully tonight is the chance for us Kiwi fans to get a bit of revenge on the Australians. Now, last night's game between South Africa and Sri Lanka was another one-sided affair. So Sri Lanka batted first and were 203 all out, with Dwayne Pretorius taking 3 for 25, including number 2, 3 and 4 batsmen. There were no real scores to take note of. There were a lot of 20s and 30s, guys soaking up a lot of balls, but there was never really any momentum that whole innings through. So then in return, South Africa cruised to victory, 206 for 1 off 37.2 overs. Hashim Amla finally finding a bit of form. It was quite good to watch him hitting the ball so cleanly, and he seemed to be the Hashim of old. And then Faf, another classy 96, not out. Now, that result basically means that Sri Lanka are left on the 6 points. They can still potentially qualify for the semi-finals if they were to win their last 2 games. That would take them to a total of 10 points, but that heavily relies on other teams' results, and I just don't really think they've got too much of a chance there. Now, this result must be a little bit so-so for South African fans out there. It really just shows what they are capable of and the class of their players. So, a result like this late in the tournament when they're already out, it must just really rub the salt in just that little bit more, knowing that they could have done really well should things have gone a little bit differently. Now, moving on to a game that I'm super excited about and could potentially be one of the games of the tournament, New Zealand versus Australia tonight. Now, if we take a look back at the 2015 World Cup, New Zealand beat the Australians in pool play when Kane Williamson hit a stunning 6 down the ground to win the game 9 wickets down. However, later in the tournament, as they met in the final, absolute heartbreak for us Kiwis. The Australians were just too good and just really rolled right over top of us. So tonight is the chance for New Zealand to seal a semi-final position and also get a bit of wood on the Australians. Now, there's been a little bit of talk in the New Zealand camp about potentially bringing in Henry Nicholls to replace Colin Munro, who's really struggled this World Cup. However, I don't think they're going to do that. Henry Nicholls is a very inexperienced opener, and they're also going to bank on Colin Munro coming right and performing one of his devastating innings, which he manages to do every 20 or so innings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick look at a few keys to success for New Zealand in tonight's game. So the first key to success for the New Zealanders, I think they need to bowl first. I think if they're sitting to bat against Stark, Behrendorff and Cummins, they're going to bat a little bit within themselves, and I don't think they're going to post the total that they need. Secondly, a huge one is to get rid of Finch and Warner early doors. As we've seen throughout this tournament, those two have really set up the Australian team, and even when they have set up that Australian team, their middle order has failed to convert on their good starts. So if they can get Smith and Khawaja in early, that's a great opportunity to keep attacking, but also tie them down and restrict that run rate. And then by doing this, it really puts that pressure on Glenn Maxwell to finish strongly. And I think if New Zealand can restrict the Aussies to 300, there's a real chance. Now with the bat, I think it's key if Martin Guptill and Munro can even get a combined total of 50. As we've seen throughout this World Cup, they've both really struggled. So I think at this stage, any runs from them is a bonus. But I think tonight could be the night that Martin Guptill comes right. I think it's fair to say with Stark, Cummins and Behrendorff, there's going to be a few early wickets, so it's key to watch out for that, but also to try and build the innings around Williamson and Taylor. I don't think there's too much doubt that they're going to be in early on and have a lot of responsibility. So if they can get in, build an innings, and then the lower middle orders have a little bit of support, I think New Zealand have a real chance. Now obviously there's going to be huge pressure from those 3 main quicks, so I think another key to success for New Zealand is to really attack Nathan Lyon. As we saw the other night, it was his first game, he bowled really well, but at the end of the day, he's a typical off-spinner. He's not going to bowl a doozer. I think getting down the track and really putting him under pressure is going to take a lot of pressure off attacking the other bowlers and really put Australia on the back foot. Now, as we take a look at the keys to success for the Australians, I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that Finch and Warner are there to set that platform. They've done it so well this whole World Cup, and not only that, when they have been able to do that, they've been able to kick on and play their shots themselves, which really sets Australia up for a big score. Another big one, I think it's finally time for Steve Smith to move up to number 3. Now, what that means for Khawaja, I'm not sure, but I just really know that Smith does need that extra time in the middle. And finally, with the bat, it's time for Maxwell to really come good and close an innings. If there is a platform for him to work with, a destructive 50 or 60 at the end could be absolutely key in this game. Moving on to the Australians with the ball, pretty obvious yet again, Stark, Behrendorff and Cummins to take early wickets. We've seen they've done this the whole tournament, both swinging the ball and then Cummins to come in and bowl that line and length. Now it's huge for them that they get rid of Ross Taylor and Kane Williamson early. They don't let them settle. Even if Guptill and Munro get off to a good start, I think it's key that as soon as Williamson and Taylor get to the crease, they bring back on Stark, Behrendorff and Cummins, pepper them early on and put them under the pump. They don't let them get settled to the part-time seamers of Stoinis or Nathan Lyon. Now I think both teams are going to go on with reasonably predictable teams. I think the only potential change might be Matt Henry sitting out for Tim Southee. Now Matt Henry's had a bit of a so-so tournament. He's been good in some games, poor in others. But Tim Southee, he is a big game player. And if there is any swing there, he's going to take wickets. And I think it's probably time to roll those dice and give him a chance at the Australians. So they're just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you guys think are the keys to success for both teams, which way you think the game might go, and yet again, still getting used to this. Please provide me any feedback on my delivery, content, or anything you'd like to see in future. But I know I'm super pumped for this game. I hope it does live up to what it could be. I think it could be the game of the tournament if things go well, if Finch, Warner, Taylor and Williamson all score runs, and then the bowlers bowl with a bit of gas. But that's all for today. Enjoy tonight's game. I know I definitely will. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow.